Prince Harry and Meghan Markle aren't just scaling back. They're watching their dream life unravel in real time. From the $14 million Montecito mansion to private jet rides with Elton John, the fairy tale is cracking fast. Behind closed doors, sources are whispering what the headlines are only just catching up to. The Sussexes are broke by Hollywood standards. Not paycheck to paycheck broke, but reputation in the toilet broke. Revenue has dried up, nobody is calling, and the money burn is faster than even Diana's inheritance can handle. Let's rewind. Meghan once boldly declared her intentions to become a billionaire. Not a millionaire, a billionaire. That's the level of ambition we're talking about. But here's the problem. You can't keep spending like Oprah if you're not earning like Oprah. Their Spotify deal? Gone. Netflix called Limonada a flop. Meghan's podcast plans evaporated. Harry's projects aren't pulling in big numbers. And that Montecito lifestyle comes with Montecito-sized bills. With no new cash pouring in and no major brand lining up to give them a second chance, the math simply doesn't add up anymore. Insiders are confirming it. Belt tightening is underway. They're cutting staff, flying less, attending fewer events. They're not seen in the circles they used to dominate. Private jets, once casually loaned by Tyler Perry and Elton John, are now noticeably absent. When the freebies stop flowing, that's Hollywood's polite way of saying you're not relevant anymore. And in a town built on relevance, irrelevance is a death sentence. Let's talk numbers. Harry reportedly received around £10 million sterling from Diana's estate at age 30 and another $7 to $8 million from the Queen Mother when he turned 40. Sounds like a cushion, right? But those millions don't stretch far when you're flying private, buying designer wardrobes, paying PR firms, and maintaining a luxury estate. Especially not in California, where lifestyle inflation hits hard. One former associate put it bluntly. They realize they need to downsize their lifestyle if they want to make this work long term.
The reality is brutal. No royal paycheck means no royal lifestyle. And the brands? They're walking because brand value is tied to image. And right now, Harry and Meghan's image is a hard sell. The narrative they've leaned on, that they were mistreated royals seeking peace, has been milked dry. The public's interest is fading, and so are the dollars that come with it. And don't feel too bad. Harry's not exactly destitute. But make no mistake, this is financial panic mode, not just some temporary setback. Even the king knows it. Behind the scenes, King Charles is reportedly trying to bring Harry back into the fold. Not out of pure fatherly love, but because it's the only move left that makes any sense. Harry needs support badly, and the royal family, for all their issues, might be the only lifeline left. Now, here's where things get even more tangled. While Charles may want to help, Prince William is having none of it. Sources close to the palace say William is drawing a hard line. No reconciliation, no forgiveness, and absolutely no come back home welcome for Harry, especially if that means embracing Meghan too. Because let's be real, accepting Harry back means accepting the entire circus that follows him. And the media? They're playing their own chess game. The Sun, historically a William and Kate stronghold, published a surprising piece from Jane Moore urging the family to embrace Harry again. She frames it as a story of a grieving younger brother who's lost his way, but who deserves a second chance. That narrative is spreading, and it's clear someone wants this rehabilitation arc to take hold. But who's driving it? Buckingham Palace? Meghan's PR team? Allies in the press? Whoever it is, they're clearly banking on public sympathy. The problem? The public isn't buying it. People haven't forgotten the Oprah interview. They haven't forgotten the accusations. And they haven't forgotten that it was William and Kate who took the hardest hits from Harry's book in the media blitz. Meanwhile, Meghan's name isn't showing up in the same conversations it used to. Her attempts to align with elite names like Oprah, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jennifer Aniston have fallen flat. She wanted to build a brand that rivaled the Kardashians, but without the hustle or the loyal audience. And with Hollywood closing its gates, she's now scrambling to find a lane that works. Harry, too, is fumbling. He's popping up more in UK-adjacent events, subtly reminding the public that he's still royal, but it's transparent. The moves feel desperate, and his inner circle, they're shrinking. One by one, former allies are stepping back. His longtime mentor, Edward Lane Fox, quietly left the Invictus Games board, an organization Harry founded and was deeply proud of. It wasn't a loud exit, but it was a loud message. And he wasn't alone. Other close confidants also exited, leaving behind questions that no one seems eager to answer. That's where we'll pause, because while the cracks are already deep, the second act of this financial downfall and the royal power struggle brewing behind the scenes is where it really gets messy. The walls are closing in, and Harry's next moves are starting to look like the flailing of someone who knows time is running out. The loss of Invictus Games' allies wasn't just a coincidence. It was the clearest signal yet that even those closest to him are losing confidence. Edward Lane Fox wasn't some peripheral figure. He was Harry's right-hand man for years, the one person many believed could steer him back to royal relevance. If he's walking away, it says more than any headline ever could. And he's not alone. Other trustees and former military veterans who once backed Harry's mission are stepping aside quietly. Publicly, the narrative is that their term simply ended. Privately, insiders are whispering something else entirely. They're saying the organization has shifted from being a grounded veterans initiative into a vanity platform, one that's starting to suffer under the weight of Harry and Meghan's brand-first, substance-second approach. The optics are terrible. When your own team starts ghosting, it's not because things are going great, it's because something smells off. Even worse, the whispers are getting louder about Meghan's growing influence over Invictus. What started as Harry's deeply personal project is now being overshadowed by Meghan's need to insert herself into the spotlight. Charity insiders are reportedly frustrated that the events feel more Hollywood than heartfelt. And donors? They're noticing. Some believe the Invictus Games would be better off with another royal figurehead, someone less divisive, less performative, and more focused on the cause. That kind of talk would have been unthinkable a few years ago. Now it's gaining traction. At the core of this unraveling is a simple truth. Harry and Meghan built their empire on media hype. They weaponized public sympathy after stepping back from royal duties. But once the tell-all interviews dried up, once the memoir buzz faded, and once the podcast deals fizzled, they were left with a brutal reality. No one's lining up to pay the millions just for being controversial. The well is dry, and the work ethic just isn't there to build something lasting. People in Hollywood are starting to talk, not in loud, headline-grabbing ways, but behind closed doors, at dinners and meetings, in the places where deals are made or broken. The word is out. They're high maintenance. They expect A-list treatment without delivering A-list value. And they bring drama instead of results. That's a death sentence in an industry where reputation is everything. And it's showing. Just look at how invisible they've become in celebrity circles lately. Tyler Perry, silent. Oprah, distant. The glam squad of billionaire benefactors that once welcomed them with open arms, now mostly MIA. Those private jet invites have dried up. And when you're used to traveling in Gulfstreams, economy seating hits harder than most people realize. It's not just the transportation that's changed, it's the symbolism. You're not one of them anymore. You're not on the list. Meghan's attempts to launch her lifestyle brand haven't helped either. Ambitious pitches about billion-dollar empires and comparisons to Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop got a few clicks, sure, but the actual execution? Crickets. No traction, no buzz, no viral moment. And when a brand launch flops in 2025, people move on in hours, not days. The Meghan Markle magic that once drew eyes is no longer converting into action. Meanwhile, Harry's stuck in a place he doesn't belong and no longer feels welcome in. California hasn't embraced him. Hollywood hasn't either. And back in the UK, the doors are barely cracked open. His attempts to rebrand himself as a working royal again, showing up with military posture, attending solemn events, trying to look dignified and regal, it's transparent. And more importantly, it's not working.
King Charles may be offering behind-the-scenes support, but even that seems like a last-ditch effort, a way to prevent his son from returning home completely broke and humiliated. The palace can't afford the optics of Harry showing up on British soil with the equivalent of a digital begging bowl. So, a quiet, covert operation appears to be underway. The goal? Repair Harry's image just enough to attract new deals and keep him financially afloat without officially bringing him back into royal duty. But there's a problem with that plan. It doesn't include William, and William is the real center of gravity now. As the future king, his word carries weight, and he has not forgotten the attacks, the accusations, or the public betrayals. He's not interested in image rehabilitation or subtle reintegration. He wants a clean break. And so long as William draws that hard line, no amount of behind-the-scenes maneuvering will fix what's been broken. To make matters worse, even the tabloids are getting confused. Papers like The Sun and the Daily Telegraph, once critical of Harry and Meghan, are now printing op-eds urging forgiveness, pushing the idea that maybe it's time to bring Harry back in from the cold. One columnist even suggested Archie and Lilibet might one day bridge the gap between the royal cousins. It's royal fantasy fan fiction. Cute idea, but disconnected from reality.
Because here's the truth. Those kids don't even know they're cousins. George, Charlotte, and Louis aren't sending postcards to Montecito. They've never built sandcastles together, never chased each other through Balmoral Gardens. Those bonds weren't formed. They were denied. And it wasn't the royal family who kept them apart. It was Harry and Meghan, who repeatedly turned down invites, skipped key events, and chose exile over reconciliation. This is the price of those decisions. And it's the children who will feel it later, growing up strangers to their own family while the rest of the world watches their parents spin the story. The future for Harry and Meghan is starting to feel less like a new chapter and more like a slow-motion retreat. With the dream of dominating American media slipping through their fingers, they're left facing a harsh truth. Neither Hollywood nor the monarchy is offering them a safety net. That Montecito estate, once the crown jewel of their independence, is now a looming expense they can barely justify. The walls aren't just closing in financially, they're closing in socially, professionally, and emotionally. Meghan is reportedly scrambling behind the scenes to rebrand yet again. She's tried activist, duchess, producer, podcaster, entrepreneur, and lifestyle guru. Nothing has stuck. The audiences are tired, the media is cautious, and even her inner circle seems to be shrinking. The glow that once made her a magazine cover staple has dimmed. And in an industry that thrives on fresh headline-grabbing relevance, her moment has passed. People who once bent over backwards to accommodate her now avoid eye contact at events. One source put it bluntly, she overestimated her power and underestimated the industry. And when the charm wears off, there's nothing left but results. And results are what she hasn't delivered. The streaming deals, the production partnerships, they all came with expectations. Expectations that were never met.
Harry, meanwhile, is caught in an identity crisis. He's not a working royal, but he's not a celebrity either. He tried to be both and ended up landing in a no-man's land where nobody really knows what to do with him. His brand, once built on bravery and brotherhood, has become muddled with contradictions. He speaks of privacy but signs multi-million-dollar content deals. He champions mental health while publicly trashing his family. The audience that once admired him is now confused, frustrated, or worse, indifferent. The Invictus Games, once his pride, are now at risk of being taken from him entirely. With his most trusted allies stepping away and rumors of internal discontent swirling, the charity that once gave him purpose is beginning to look like a liability. There's growing pressure to replace him with a less polarizing figure, someone who can restore focus to the athletes instead of bringing drama and headlines. If that happens, it's not just a reputational blow, it's a personal one. It would be a sign that even his legacy work is being dismantled. And then there's the royal wildcard, King Charles.
Behind the scenes, he's reportedly working to soften Harry's fall. Not out of strategic brilliance, but out of fatherly concern. Charles doesn't want to see his son return to the UK as a public failure, begging for support. But even he knows there are limits. There's only so much spin you can put on a downward spiral. The public isn't calling for Harry's redemption, and the monarchy isn't designed for second chances. It's designed for stability. That's why Charles is walking a tightrope. If he brings Harry back too soon, he risks alienating William, the cornerstone of the next generation. But if he leaves Harry out in the cold, he watches his son's life and image implode further, dragging the family name along with it. It's a lose-lose situation, and the king knows it.